All right, let's dive into these divisional games. First one up was the Houston Texans traveling to the Chiefs. Addison, you were on scene for this game.
Yes.
What do you got for us in the breakdown? What did you see?
Obviously, I wish I was down in my head, but I'm paying attention big time. Yeah, I mean, it would have been cold, but still, man, seeing greatness in person would have been pretty wicked.
Yeah.
23-14, Chiefs. 14 really wasn't what it was. A safety late got him a couple extra points, but man,
killed Mahomes' rushing prop.
Yeah, I know, with the 5-yard lead, man, they always do that shit.
He was at like 19, and I think his over-under before the game started was down to like 19.5 or 20. And he was at 19, and he turns and runs, and then takes it. It's like, you son of a bitch.
It's like, you know
what's happening.
Because people are slamming that over in the postseason.
Absolutely.
Man. Obviously, everyone.
And the bet was 9.5 when the game started. They won by 9 because of that safety.
I know. Right when I saw that, I was like, wow, that line just got hoed pretty hard.
If I'm a Texans bettor, I'm thrilled. And if I'm a Chiefs bettor, I am not watching football again.
Why you betting on the Chiefs, though? Minus a lot.
True.
But basically, some stats on this game. A big one, though, is Travis Kelce, 7 receptions, 117 yards, and a touchdown. Absolutely torched the Texans' defense. And the big reaction, knee-jerk to this game was all the calls and all the penalties for the Chiefs. I just want to shut that down real quick. The first one is a penalty pretty much every single time. If your quarterback gets hit like that, there is zero scenario. You're not crying for a flag. There is a still image. I screenshotted it myself. His helmet is touching his face mask. And we talk about defensive players going full speed. Mm-hmm. What do you want offensive players to do? What, is Patrick Mahomes supposed to have the neck of a god? And when he gets hit by Will Anderson going full speed, by the way, Will Anderson running straight, moron, bend over. What are you coaching D'Amico Ryans? Because if he bends over, it's a sack. Instead, he connects helmet to helmet. It's frustrating that it was minimal, but going at full speed, your head's going to jerk when an NFL player hits you in the head. And the second one, the unnecessary roughness when Mahomes was a rusher, that one I can get behind why there's an argument why that flag should not be thrown. If that's Kareem Hunt, is there a flag? Probably not. NFL, here's one. Introduce targeting, because that would be targeting in the college level. It does not have to involve injections at the NFL level, but number 91 for the Texans came in and tried to decapitate Patrick Mahomes with the crown of his helmet. And, I mean, that should be a flag because no player should have any player doing that. So, I mean, I'm talking RBs, receivers, anybody that has the ball. We want to introduce something to protect players. Let's introduce targeting 15 yards and we move on. No ejections, but let's move on because that should be a flag. Yes. Those players were they saw Patrick Mahomes and said, this is my one opportunity to get him out of the game. Mm-hmm. And I don't care if it looks bad, I'm doing it. And to me, they were playing to hurt during that play. And that, to me, throws it back on D'Amico Ryans a little bit, but we'll get into that more. But the third one, the flop, that wasn't even a flag. People are crying about a hypothetical. I get it's frustrating. The Mahomes does slow down and tries to draw a flag. Here's one. He had 2 feet in bounds. You can crush him at that point. Yeah. That's difficult, and I understand that. The NFL needs to have a discussion about the flirting with the sidelines, if you're in, if you're out. But it's tough because can guys not play on the boundary? Because you can go back to the middle of the field. I mean, how do you police that? That's a tough spot for the NFL. Basically, at that point, maybe you just coach guys to hit a guy and take the 15. Because if you want to flirt, I'll crush you legally, hit you in the back. Mm-hmm. But if you're on the edge, it's not my fault.
Right.
But crying about flopping to me is hilarious because it didn't even result in anything. The Chiefs kicked a field goal on that drive. And then basically it's all Texans versus everybody. Game starts off with a gigantic kickoff return and then the bonehead penalty, taking off your helmet and then shoving a defensive coach. What are we doing? These guys are this amped up that they're shoving their coach. And maybe it was completely out of context and it was getting hype. No. And the coach didn't realize it was a penalty for taking your helmet off, but I highly doubt it. I'm sure the player was getting ridiculed and he freaked out a little bit and shoved his coach. It's like, damn. And missed field goals, block, obviously, but 3 missed kicks in this game for Fairbairn, who'd been pretty much money all season, obviously hurts. Momentum is big. And coming out of half with the Texans having a 10-minute drive and then missing a PAT to not have it tied is gigantic. People don't talk about that. And so they want to blame it on the refs. And what do the Chiefs do in return to a 10-minute drive out of half from the Texans? They say, thank you for eating a bunch of clock. Let's go down and have an 8-minute drive ourselves and score a touchdown to go up 8. And on that drive, it started out as 1st and 19 because that was the unnecessary roughness drive. Mm-hmm. And what the Chiefs do on that 1st and 19? They got a first down in 3 plays. Didn't even go to 4th down. They got a first down on 3rd down to a wide open Travis Kelce. So let's complain about the Texans defense giving up an easy first, and then the unnecessary roughness happened on a 1st down that got positive yards regardless. Are we going to act like the Chiefs aren't going to continue to march when they just got a 1st and 19 if there's no flag and it's 2nd and 7? My ass. And then there's also a 4th and 1 on that drive. The Texans did not stop. So complaining about the defense Texans, loser mentality from everyone in that Texans organization. D'Amico Ryans, it starts with you. I think you coach to hurt players, and that's crazy. But to me, the track record shows there's enough footage out there where the players on the Texans play without regard for the safety of the other team's players. So have that conversation. Then also have conversation with Bobby Slowick and C.J. Stroud and the offensive line for allowing 8 sacks. Letting Chris Jones just wreak havoc. Were the protections wrong from Stroud? Were the protections wrong from the line? Or was Slowick just completely outcoached by Spags? I think it was all 3. But basically, Texans, you played not a good enough game, and the flags are frustrating, I get it, but the Chiefs just beat you straight up, with or without the refs. I'm sorry. And also, D'Amico Ryans' coaching decisions, going for it on 4th down and kicking a 55-yard field goal in these conditions. What are you doing? The 4th and 10, going for it, and C.J. Stroud taking a 20-yard sack. Let's rip on Stroud, because God forbid if that was Caleb Williams, he's a moron. He's a moron. C.J. Stroud in a playoff game on 4th and 10 took a 20-yard sack, flip field, instead of a punt. And what did the Texans do? Force a 3 and out. What did the Chiefs do? Punt and pin them. And then they have to go the full distance down 8 points, and they don't. And guess what? The Texans could have punted, and you brought it up earlier before the show. It was a late snap. They only got to the line with 5 seconds left. 5 seconds on the That's indecisiveness from D'Amico Ryans. There should be questions for D'Amico Ryans. You're the best loser of the losers. The AFC South is full of losers right now, and you're the best of them. Congratulations. You stand no chance against the upper echelon teams of the league. So you get rid of this loser mentality. Quit blaming the refs. Look in the mirror. Take some accountability, because this game was not pretty from the Texans. Simple as that.
Agreed. Straight up. Yeah. My notes on this game, a lot of maybe cover Travis Kelce. That feels like an obvious thing to me, but man, how many times did I see Azeez Al-Shaair just out of position, just not making a play? It's like, dude, if you can't take the guy's head off, are you worthless? Like, what are we doing?
I mean, he's playing zone coverage, and he's lost. He's the only player that's lost. But
no clue where he's supposed to be going. Offensive line miscommunications for the Texans all day long was terrible. There was a huge 4th quarter, 2nd and 10. The right tackle and right guard. Right guard blocks down, so the right tackle should block down. He doesn't. He kicks out to the side. Free rusher, big sack play there. And then why rush the 4th and 10 play? They didn't know if they were going to go for it. They're at midfield. It's 4th and 10. It's like you said, you have a chance to pin them deep.
There's 10 minutes left in the game.
There's plenty of time left. You do not have to go for this. They get to the line of scrimmage with 5 seconds on the play clock. In my head, I'm like, oh, they're going to take the delay game. They're not going to hike this. He hikes the ball. No one's ready for it. He loses 16 yards on this sack. All of a sudden, now you're backed up. They lose 16 yards, and that's a 4th down play. Now the Chiefs are on your 44-yard line. That's a huge play in that football game. And I said, that feels like a back-breaking play in the game. And it really was, because all of a sudden they were down by 11. Their offensive line was awful. And I hate D'Amico Ryan and Will Anderson and Joe Mixon after the game saying, yeah, it's us versus the refs, man. It's us versus the refs. It's like, no. Your offensive line forgot how to block. Your receivers weren't getting open all game long. You had a special teams miscue every single quarter, it seemed like. And your coach tried to kick a 55-yard field goal in that weather?
And then, again, it's funny because their best drive of the season, the longest drive they've had all season, and time-wise, and it hurt them, though. Because then that made D'Amico Ryans feel pressured because their time was dwindling. There was 10 minutes. He felt like he had to go, which is crazy. If you're going in that long possession mentality, punt that damn ball. Punt that damn ball.
And hope your defense gets a stop. Yeah. Colin, what did you see in this game?
Not much more to say than what you guys have already said. Obviously, a lot of miscues on the Texans side, as well as kind of a Chiefs masterclass. Yes, it wasn't the prettiest game, but Travis Kelce in the playoffs.
Oh, God.
All reliable. You just bet on his receptions and yards and maybe sprinkle a touchdown every other game because he's going to show out. Regular season's kind of a walkthrough. And this is the playoffs. These are where the real games matter. So not much more to say than that, but wow, Chiefs look good.
Yeah. Chris Jones is a monster.
Chris Jones is insane. And same with George Karlaftis.
Yeah, I mean, their defense is good.
They crushed that draft where they got McDuffie and Karlaftis in the first round. It's like, wow, y'all nailed that.
This is what the Texans were all season. A team with a terrible offensive line, and Stroud was pressured like crazy. Guess what this game's pretty much story was? Stroud was sacked 8 times.
8 times. 8 sacks. You can't have that. You can't blame the refs when you get sacked 8 times. That's not their fault. Chiefs moving on, not surprised, going to their 7th straight AFC champion. I can't even imagine that kind of success.
That's also another reason why everyone wants the flags and stuff, because they're just tired of them winning. But it's like, you wish you were them.
Yeah, you just
so do I.
Everyone who
so
doesn't.
Do I.
Who doesn't?
But you got to respect it. You got to respect it because that was not because of the refs. At the end of the day,
it
was just not.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. And, Texans, sorry, again, like Addison said, you guys were the best loser this year of that AFC South division, which was pitiful, pretty much top to bottom. And you won a playoff game, well done, but that was against the perennial choker Chargers. Good job. But you're not on the level of these 4 teams that were still playing in the AFC at that point. You're very clearly the 4th best there. And you showed it. And then, like you said, it's a loser mentality to come out and blame the refs.
Yep.
To come out and be like, oh, the refs. It's like, no. You got it. Like, you don't see people like Josh Allen doing that. You don't see people like Lamar Jackson doing that. You don't normally see Patrick Mahomes doing that. It's like they accept losses. Yeah. And even the Chiefs guy was like, man, the Chiefs player on Twitter after the game was like, man, I miss when men lost like men and just took it instead of complaining about the refs. It's like, he's not wrong, man. Quit your bitching. You lost. Yeah. It's okay to lose to the Chiefs. Everyone does. Yeah. It seems like everyone does. You don't need to blame the refs about that.
No, I get it's frustrating. Playoff loss sucks, but it's like, man, like when you're pushing blame everywhere else, like that's a bad indicator of the culture, in my opinion. Just really, that's what I would think. Because it's just you're blaming other people when you had the most impact. Right. If the refs had some impact, well, they have impact on every single game in every sport. They're humans. They're going to have an impact on the game. You have the most, though, of your own control. And you played, like, not well enough. I don't want to say complete shit, but it was not good enough.
Too many self-inflicted wounds for them to beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead.
I mean, the offense putting up, 12 points? Yeah. It's like you're going to need more than that against the Chiefs of all teams.
Yeah. Right. There were no flags against the Texans offense that I was like, whoa, that's a terrible call or anything. It's like, no, you guys only scored 12 points. Yeah. You can't expect to win this football game when you only scored 12 points. You just can't. All right, Saturday night, game of the weekend, in my opinion. They were some really good football games, to be fair. But Commanders going into Detroit, and I will continue to kick myself for not going with my gut instinct and taking the Commanders. I said it on the show. I was like, oh, I want to do it. I couldn't do it. I was too scared. That's on me, so I don't get to victory lap that one. My notes on this game were all over the place just because it was so much happening. Yeah. At first, I was like, oh, man, Lions are going to just dominate this game. I thought they were going to boat race them. And then my first highlighted play here, I have that strip sack by Dorian Armstrong, former Dallas Cowboy. Strip sacking Jared Goff there, stopping him. I said the note I wrote before that was, get the feeling Detroit will just go up and down the field all night long. Strip sack. Great play. Split the left guard and left tackle to get the Goff. Comes blindside. Commanders ball. Washington goes down the field. Takes the lead. 10-7. It's like, okay, we got ourselves a ball game here. A couple of missed throws from Goff in this game. He was not on his A game for sure. And then Scary Terry, the house call on the screen. It's like the Lions couldn't stop them. And then, obviously, losing their corner. Whose name? What was his name? He snapped his arm in half.
Yeah, it was completely
he was the one who shut down Justin Jefferson. Yeah. Good job. That's what was impressive 2 weeks ago.
I'll find it.
But Amik Robertson, that's it. Snapped. His arm was in half. That was ugly looking. That's a tough loss. But then you got, obviously, the Terry McLaurin touchdown, and then the next drive, pick six. Yep. Goff just overthrows his man. Pick six. Huge game. 24-14 then. And Goff that should have been a flag. He got blown up on that return. You cannot hit a dude. Like, that was helmet to helmet. Just lifted him off the ground. I'm not convinced he wasn't concussed.
Oh, he was.
I'm not convinced he wasn't concussed at all.
He knew how to pass the test, I bet.
Yeah. And then, Jameson Williams with that big play, touchdown, and then the obscene gesture at the end of it. Love it. Good for him. Whatever. Have your fun. One of the notes I have here is Lions get the ball less than 2 minutes, need to go score. Happy to see Goff out there. My next note is Goff cannot throw a pick on this drive. You've got to score points. And this play in particular, then my next note was Gibbs is such a weapon, and then, oh my God, he threw the pick. Watched the play a couple of times, and I think Goff made the right read. Initially, I was like, oh, he's concussed. It was a bad play. The defense was in quarters, so you have two deep corners and you have two deep safeties. The safeties actually played down, not in position they're supposed to be, so Goff sees, oh, I got the post, because the corner has outside, and he just limp armed it, man.
Yeah.
Throw.
It should have been 3 yards deeper in the end zone or a little bit sooner off his hand.
That should be a touchdown.
But,
maybe the pressure got there and messed up the throw a little bit, but then my next note is that's a perfect half for Washington. Oh, yeah. Perfect first half for the Washington Commanders there. And then I do love the Ben Johnson play call in the second half of the crack toss left shovel pass to Amon-Ra. What? Yeah. Crazy that he was getting into his bag of tricks, but then I think he got a little bit too far on the double pass with Jameson Williams, and when receivers get the ball on that, they're never going to throw it away. They're always going to throw the pass. I don't care if he's triple covered, they're throwing the pass. And Jameson Williams says, fuck it, I'm throwing it up, and I think that was a Sanders Still pick. Mike Sanders Still, 2 interceptions in this game, great game for him. And then, Detroit miscues too, 12 defenders on the field, fourth down play. Automatic first down, touchdown, now it's 38-28.
Inexcusable.
Yeah, you cannot have that.
Yeah, timeout.
Timeout.
Yeah, that's a back-breaking play.
That is another back-breaking play.
The coach are yelling from the sideline, but the fans are rowdy because it's a fourth down. You just got to burn one there.
Yeah, you do. You got to burn one.
There's no player multiple yards away from who's hearing you yell at them.
No.
And when you're trying to get a 12th guy off, maybe multiple guys run at that point.
Right, and then they stop. Like, wait, no, you go, I go. Yeah. It's like, you got to take one.
And just on the Jameis Williams, he had never thrown a pass in college or the league till this point.
Why are we doing that here?
I will say, though, receivers got to convince the coaches that I'll be the guy that throws it away. Let me
I'll
do it.
throw it
I'll
away.
throw that shit
I'll
away
throw
if it's
it
not
away.
there. Because how do you throw that?
Yeah, you cannot throw that
Yeah.
ball. And then Goff picked again. Eckler with a huge run, and I wrote, is the route on? And it sort of was. It sort of was. And Commanders, the biggest takeaways in this game I've got, Goff, 3 interceptions. They also had 2 fumbles in this game. Jameson Williams an interception and then a fumble as well. Commanders had 5 takeaways, and they scored 21 points off those 5 takeaways.
Yep.
And they never turned the ball over. Commanders didn't turn the ball over a single time in this football game. So a 5-0 turnover difference to go along with 21 points off of those is absolutely huge. And shout out Jane Daniels, first rookie ever to have 300-plus yards in 2 playoff games his rookie year. Crazy game. This game was nuts.
Yeah.
I loved every second of it.
I seriously texted her. I was like, he could throw for 500 yards, 400, but he hit the 3 mark, which is damn impressive. Like we said, I said it last week because I was like, no chance, just pretty much along with everybody.
Right, yeah.
That Washington had to play a perfect game, and that's pretty much just about what they did.
Yeah, I think they punted once.
Yeah, and then they had a downs, and then 1 punt,
One
and
punt
then
down.
they had a missed field goal when they were already up 14 late.
Yeah.
So we're talking a pretty much perfect game from Washington. Look what it resulted in. Goff, 4 turnovers.
Yeah.
He choked in the big moment, really.
He did.
That's
Fell
what it came
apart,
down to it. And you got to feel for Lions fans at least a little bit because, like you said,
This is the year.
Their coordinators are getting ripped. And,
they're gone.
Are they going to have better coordinators than maybe the best offensive mind and a really good
defensive
DC?
one?
I don't know. This is a tough loss. Washington futures got to be extremely bright and shit. You got Super Bowl.
It's as bad of a Washington team as we're going to see for a long time.
Yeah.
This was supposed to be a 3-4 win team.
Yeah.
Because there's just no talent on the defensive side of the ball. There's no talent anywhere.
Yeah.
And here they are sitting. They went 12-5 and they've won back-to-back road playoff games. It's like I want to take the Eagles, but also I don't know if I can. This feels like a team of destiny.
Yeah, how do you
feels like a
against
team that just thinks going into a football game we're going to win this game. And they just manifest it. They won 5 straight games going into the playoffs. There's something to be said for that momentum, man.
And it's to the point now where if it's a 1-score game or tied and they have ball, they're winning.
Picking them to win.
Yeah, they're winning.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Daniels is cerebral.
Yeah.
He just has that mentality of the moment's not too big for him.
No.
The moment's just not too big for him.
Yeah.
Colin, when you watch Washington right now, what are your thoughts? Is it just like, well, that sucks?
Yeah.
That sucks.
Well, it does suck because, as you mentioned, offensively, they are a juggernaut. They are moving the ball at will with a dual threat quarterback, and maybe that's the formula. As a lot of teams that are still left in the playoffs, obviously you have mobile quarterbacks.
All 4 of them.
Just another guy you have to worry. You no longer have to play 11 versus 10 against offenses. Now you have to play 11 versus 11.
Yep.
And going back to that Jameson Williams pick real quick, that's 1st and 10 on your own 46.
Yeah, what are we doing?
On a 1st and 10 play, we're just giving it up.
Yep.
Another stat that I saw that really breaks my heart, but I'm not surprised in the slightest. In the last 15 years, 15 of the 16 NFC teams have had an NFC Championship game appearance.
No.
With Washington winning. Now, the Dallas Cowboys are the only team since 2010 not to have an NFC Championship appearance. Even better, it's been 1995 since our last NFC Championship game appearance. So it's been 30 freaking years.
Oh,
that's
despicable.
Brutal stat.
But moving forward, I said it like week 13 or 14 when we talked about Washington or Philly winning the division. If it came down to one of those two, obviously I'd probably lean Washington.
Yeah.
Just because there's
Philly.
multiple reasons to hate Philly.
Yeah.
And so this game coming up, spoiler, I might be going with Washington.
Dude, it's hard to pick against them right now, honestly. I don't know how you do.
Daniels makes deep down the field throws.
Yes.
He makes the right decisions. They've got a good run game. He's a part of their run game. Their defense is playing stingy. They got a coach that's willing to go for it on 4th down,
And
which is
be
gigantic.
good, 3 for 4 on 4th
Yeah,
down. Huge.
when you give good players opportunities to get first, they're going to.
They're going to make plays.
And that's what Jaden Daniels is. And Dan Quinn, full belief in his rookie quarterback, is paying off. They're in the damn NFC Championship game, and they're 4.5-point dogs. They were 9.5-point dogs against the Lions. Just the respect from that win, obviously, alone. When you bounce the 1 seed, you get some good respect.
Yeah.
But that is crazy because this line was 10-10 when they played, and it's 4.5 now in a championship must win. Goddamn.
In Philly, too.
Yeah, crazy.
And the last thing I'll say on this game, you mentioned with the 4th down, willing to go for it. Dan Quinn beat Dan Campbell at his own game.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he was the more
outdanned
aggressive
him.
coach, and it paid off.
Yep.
It paid off.
100% it did.
Yeah, Washington's Dan was bigger than Detroit's Dan this weekend.
Yeah.
For Detroit fans, you got to be just devastated.
Yeah.
A 15-2 season, the odds-on Super Bowl favorite pretty much most of the year here. And you get one playoff game and you just completely collapse. The defense could not get a stop to save lives. Yeah, the injuries is brutal.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to make excuses because bringing it to my team just for a quick second, because I'm going to talk about us in the playoffs normally. Last year, going to Kansas City, 11 of our 22 stars were on IR.
Yeah.
I mean, the Lions have 16 players on IR. I understand that. We had half our team on IR last year, and no one gave us an excuse, and we were on the road in negative 30 degrees.
Yeah.
No excuse, Detroit. I'm sorry. No excuse. I mean, was Aaron Glenn, what are we doing? They couldn't figure out what to do to stop him. He was going man, and he's like, we're getting cooked in man. He went zone, we're getting cooked in zone. They didn't have an answer. There's no answer for this. Jaden Daniels was like, I can do anything against you.
Yep.
I'm going to.
Yeah, and Cliff Kingsbury has not interviewed anywhere.
Yeah.
He's gotten requests, but he just has not interviewed. He cannot now until the season ends for them. And, I mean, people are going to want to interview him.
Yeah, they are. Former head coach experience.
And on the flip side, talking about Aaron Glenn, I mean, we loved him in that Week 18 against Minnesota, and then in this game didn't have any answers. But on the flip side, Ben Johnson, not to take too many shots at your new head coach, but besides Jaden Daniels, the best player on the field was Jameer Gibbs.
Yeah,
I know.
You just
We're giving the ball to Montgomery.
I don't care if you have 30 carries, Jameer Gibbs. You are carrying us to this win.
He was dominant. I've had like 6 notes in here that are like, have I mentioned Jameer Gibbs? Because this fucking guy rocks.
No, he might be the best running back in football.
He might be.
Saquon obviously is like probably
statistic.
But like, Jameer Gibbs is with the ball in his hand. Holy shit.
He's so good.
He's damn good. And yeah, they did get away from him when they maybe should not have. And yeah, the JMO throw on first down, that's terrible. I mean, that ended the season right there.
It really did. And I want to look at, I got to pull up this stats. I want to see, I don't think, Jameer Gibbs was averaging damn near 10 yards, 7.5 yards a carry. And Montgomery took 7 carries, 4 yards a carry. And one of them was 11 yards. So 6 carries for 17 yards in the game. It's like, quit giving him the ball. Yeah. I know, and we're all excited he's back. He's so tough. That's awesome. But if I'm a Commanders fan, I'm like, yes, run Montgomery. Yeah. Run Montgomery against us. Don't give the ball to Jameer Gibbs.
He has no chance to score a touchdown. And Gibbs does every time he touches the ball.
Gibbs had 6 catches for 70 yards, 14 carries for 105 yards. I mean, he had 175 all-purpose yards and 2 touchdowns. And they're like, we should probably run David Montgomery out there. It's like, no, you shouldn't. No, you shouldn't. I will say, last thing on this game, really cool that I just read this on ESPN, so I'm sure other people have read it too. The Jaden Daniels training regimen involves a virtual reality where they're putting in teams' defenses into this VR set, and they're running it at 1.75 speed. So he's playing against these defenses in practice at 1.5, almost 2 times fast. So they're way faster, and he's reading it, and he's like, I've seen this before. Yeah. This is what I can do. And it seems to be working.
Yeah.
Seems to be working pretty well. Yeah. So, crazy game. That one was my favorite game to watch all weekend, without a doubt.
Oh, yeah.
All right, next up, we've got Rams at Philadelphia. Colin, what'd you see in this game?
Rams at Philly. Let me go back to it here. Another game where the trenches were really dominated by Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. I mean, the Rams' defensive line, yes, we knew they were undersized against Philly's offensive line, but I thought they hold up pretty well.
Jared versus a dog.
Yeah, he is a dog. I like the talking to the crowd aspect of it, but when you lose, it's a bad luck. Because now you just get trolled.
Yep.
But looking at it, I mean, but it's easy to say you take away a couple big plays, and all of a sudden it's a new game. But you just look at these big runs. I mean, Jalen Hurts setting the tone with a 44-yard touchdown run out the gate, and then Saquon Barkley breaking 2 big touchdown runs, one late to really seal it. Yep. But then on the flip side, you look at the Rams. Too many miscues yet again. We have a lot of drop passes. We have 2 costly fumbles.
Puka could not catch the ball.
Couldn't catch the ball. I get it. Kind of a Hawaiian.
Right.
Warm weather.
Samoan fella.
Coming into cold Philly. He looked cold. Everyone looked cold.
Yeah, that is bad there.
But it's just another game where it's coming from a hater standpoint. I am a hater. I get it. But it's another game where if you told me Stafford's going to put up 300-plus passing, Kyron Williams is going to rush for over 100, Puka's going to have 97 receiving.
Yep.
I'm like,
Rams win.
Rams win.
Yeah, easy.
And then on the flip side, just another. Is it bad to say the worst part of Philadelphia's team is their passing attack?
Without question, it is. Without question.
Their defense is insane. Jalen Carter, we talked about it on end. He's just a steal of the draft.
Star.
Obviously, questions going into the draft.
I mean, he got pulled out of the combine to go speak with police. Yeah. It's hard to draft that.
He showed up like 30 pounds overweight as well.
Yes.
So that didn't look good, but he looks damn good on the field.
Yeah.
Another reason why you shouldn't put too much combine into the potential of players.
Yes.
And then also Rams, how are we not blocking him down the stretch? The last drive of the game, Rams they're marching. I'm like, please God, if there's a God in this world,
they're going to score. Please.
The Rams win or score and win. And 3rd and 3, you just don't block Jalen Carter.
Of all people?
The right guard's like, I'm just going to double the end.
Yeah, I'd rather not.
And then Stafford taking a big sack, 3rd and 3. If he doesn't take the sack there, say it's incomplete. 4th and 3 is much more manageable than 4th and 11.
Yeah.
But just too many miscues from the Rams, and then Saquon Barkley's just that guy. And then offensive line, they're going to go as far as Saquon and that line takes him. As long as Jalen Hurts plays mistake-free.
Yeah. And if he only throws it 20 times for 128 yards, that's pretty easy for him to do. I mean, when A.J. Brown has 2 catches for 14 yards and Devontae Smith 4 for 21, and they just run the ball. Just run the ball.
I mean,
that's all you have to do.
it's frustrating if you're betting on Hurts. Trust me, I know, but like if they don't have to throw it,
no.
But then what gets to the scenario when they need to?
Right.
Because that's the question.
Can they do it?
If the Commanders are going to put up points,
yeah.
So what's the answer here? And I know it's dumb, but cold weather games, man. I say it every year. Let's have everybody in the damn dome, please, because it benefits the offense insane amount because defenders cannot play at full speed. Offensive players obviously know when they're going to cut. They do normally in general. Obviously, they know the play they're going to run, but in cold weather, in the snow like this, it's a huge advantage. Tom Brady loves snow games for a reason because the offense just gets to feast because defense is just playing on their heels.
Yep.
But, man, Saquon pretty much, it was 455 yards in 2 games against the Rams? Yeah. That's ridiculous.
Crazy.
Yeah.
4 touchdowns.
Jake Elliott, though, blessed because he missed 2 PATs.
Yeah, that almost cost him.
Should have been. I mean, hey, if they lost, I said he should be cut because you were making field goals. Yep. But what's up with the PATs?
It's the easiest kick you're ever gonna make, man.
Don't get it.
I did see a stat: the Eagles are 4-0 in the playoffs when Jake Elliott misses a PAT.
That's crazy.
Damn. So maybe it's just on purpose.
Yeah, maybe he's like, I'm missing this one for luck.
Just
gonna miss it because why not? Yeah, Jalen Hurts, a 49 QBR. It's all Saquon. It's Saquon Barkley's team, man. It's his team. Oh, yeah. 205 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns, 7.9 yards a carry. And obviously Jalen Hurts with his legs is also pretty damn good. 7 for 70 and a touchdown.
I will say, big-time throws, though, on the touchdown drive to Saquon. He hit A.J. Brown on a slant on 3rd down.
For the 3rd down conversion,
exactly.
Huge play.
So it wouldn't matter. They at least hit a big one. It was a short throw, though, but still, and it was a slant. But, yeah, Saquon's different. Best offensive line, and you had a top 5 running back that has now shown he's the best with the best offensive line in front of him. It's a good formula.
Yeah.
It's a good formula.
It works pretty damn
Saquon
well.
had more yards on the ground than Hurts had passing plus rushing himself.
That's
I will
crazy.
never forgive the Giants for paying Daniel Jones and letting Saquon walk. I will never forget that. I'll never forgive that.
What a mistake.
Yeah.
That's a franchise-altering mistake.
Said, hey, Phil, you want our best player to make you even better?
Make you that much better.
Yeah.
And Mara, I hope Mara hasn't been sleeping. I can't believe that Shane and Dave, at least Joe Shane, I can't believe he kept his job. Because you chose Daniel Jones. You evaluated your roster, and you said, I'd rather have Daniel Jones at $40 million a year than Saquon Barkley at $12 a year. It's like, what? Why?
Yeah, no. And
based on what?
We talk about Saquon and his contract. He's 32nd or something, 36th maybe, paid receiver if he was a receiver. Like, that's crazy. His value is better than any receiver in the league, and he's making 36 receiver money. Darnell Mooney should not be making more than Saquon Barkley. Sorry.
That is insane.
He should not be. Yeah.
That's insane.
And the really one big miscue other than the missed PAT for the Eagles was that safety Hurts.
Yeah, that can't happen.
Just wide
that
open.
Can't happen.
Just check it down.
Yeah.
Just check it down.
Yeah, Hurts did get banged up, and his knee got bent some weird ways, so we'll see how he's doing going into this game.
Yeah.
But, because then, that safety play, they're saying, he was hurt before that. He already came up kind of grimacing and holding, hitting that leg, ouch. He couldn't escape the pocket. It's all of a sudden you lose that mobility, and now you have to throw the ball.
Last year, that was their killer.
That
because
was it.
Jalen Hurts could not get outside. Whenever he did, he'd just go down.
Yeah.
And again, if that's the case, Saquon's load is going to get even bigger balls. But still,
Whoa. I think he can handle it.
Oh, yeah. He could.
He can handle a way bigger load. Okay, good. But yeah, crazy, tough game for the Rams to lose that one. Stafford played great. I don't understand the 4th down play, 4th and 11, game on the line. You throw it 5 to 6 yards out of bounds. Don't jump ball.
I think Tim Boyle just overtook his ball.
Yeah, Tim Boyle. So I got one more in me, Coach. Yeah. Idiot.
If it was a more competitive throw, you might get that hold.
Right, you gotta give him a shot.
Draped.
Yeah, gotta give. Yeah, the Rams wanted the penalty. It's it's uncatchable.
Yeah.
That ball can't be caught in bounds anyways. Who cares if he's flagged it? Doesn't make any sense. All right, Sunday night game. Sage, nope. Sage can't break this one down for us, unfortunately. Bills, Ravens. I was doing so I took notes on all these games and okay, here's what's happening. Here's what I think's happening. Yada yada yada. About midway through this game, I said I gotta stop because I'm very obviously skewed, very obviously biased in this game, and everything that happens, it's there's no excitement in my notes for a Bills touchdown, a lot of excitement for a Ravens score. It's okay, Nate, you gotta maybe take a step back. We're gonna have a lot of conversations about Lamar Jackson again this offseason. The pick was bad, the overthrow pick was terrible. The moment seemed maybe just a touch big.
Yeah, the
seemed
fumble.
Big for him and big for Mark Andrews, who.
Oh yeah.
One of the best tight ends in football the last 6 years. Most definitely one of the best tight ends. And fell apart.
Yep. I mean,
just lost
dropped their season pretty much. The fumble was obviously backbreaking, and then the 2-point conversion drop legitimately stopped overtime. Who knows? The Bills maybe go down and score.
Right, we're not going to assume the Ravens win in overtime.
Or even get to overtime.
Right, because they have 2 timeouts in a minute and a half.
So, exactly.
Plenty of time for the Bills to go score.
There was time, but Mark Andrews dropped an opportunity to make it 27-27.
Yeah,
I mean,
tie it up.
Just tough, but not to rag on Lamar, but to rag on Lamar because this is your MVP in the biggest moment. Absolutely laying an egg in the first half.
Yep.
Lamar played a good game in the second half, put his team in a position to win. It's not his fault. Mark Andrews dropped a 2-point conversion. How about your kicking in PAT? Because that touchdown puts you up to win if you don't fumble basically 6. Turned into 7, the fumble. So basically a fumble 6. But it was like a 60-yard return, whatever it was, 50-yard return. But the interception as well didn't really kill him, but still bad interception. You were driving and overthrow, and it's just the story for Lamar is he gets too amped up for these playoff games. And guess what? The story rung true yet again. Because he's going up and down the sideline, my bad, to every single player. How about you just put it behind you like every single person does in the regular season? Like, Lamar, you're making too big of a deal off the turnover. Like, I get it's frustrating. You got to let your boys know that you messed up. But, like, just put it behind you immediately. It's clinging to you when you're apologizing for 5 minutes about the interception. But then the fumble obviously hurt. He played good, though. But, man, Mark Andrews really, it got to be the time almost where maybe he's done in Baltimore off it. As shitty as it is.
That's backbreaking. And like, they went for 2 2-point conversions. They didn't need to go for both of them. They wanted to tie the game at 21. They didn't get it. It's like, just take the points, man. Sometimes I think these coaches just overthink shit. It's like, points are points. Points are points.
Yeah.
Take them when you can.
It's the
playoffs.
I saw it on ESPN, but it's true. Like, analytics say 52% of the time. Well, what's the other 48%?
Right. It means
when it's all negative.
Every half of them.
Yeah, when it's all negative. Because that's a lot.
Yeah.
You're telling me 52 is going to go 48. It might have even been Gruden on Barstool. But still, like, it's true. So
and what's the percentage of hitting the PAT? Probably 90 plus.
Yeah.
You would think, unless you're Jake Elliott. I mean, 95% of PATs hit in the NFL. I'm totally making this up, by the way. Yeah. I don't know the number. I could look it up. I'm not going to do that. But I mean, you can get a point. You have a 95% chance of getting a point, or you got a 52% chance of getting 2 points.
Yeah.
Maybe you should take the damn point because then you're not going for 2. I mean, they went 0 for 2 on 2-point conversions, and I don't understand the 2-point conversion play when Derrick Henry marched the ball down the field for you, and then your 2-point conversion's a pass play.
I know.
And he's open, yes, but Matt Milano gets a hand on it. It's like, just run the ball. Why does Derrick Henry only have 16 carries in a snowy football game when his physicality and your physicality can dominate this football team and win this football game? 16 carries, that's all? Because we want to prove Lamar Jackson? Stop it. Yeah. The Bills didn't give a shit about Josh Allen's numbers in this game. 100-something yards.
Yeah, 16 for 22, $127.
Yep, and no passing touchdowns. Because, quick passes and running the ball.
Yeah.
And that was the formula to win. Ray Davis is the backup, got a rushing touchdown. So why do they do this? Why did the Ravens do this every single year in the playoffs? And Sage would be a good person to ask. Because every year they're like, okay, we did this, we did A all year and it worked. Let's try B right now.
Yeah.
It's like, no, just do A.
I mean, I think the turnovers, obviously that's the big thing, but the turnovers is what killed them. I mean, their offense was better. They put up better numbers. They moved the ball better than the Bills did. But the turnovers, 3 drives ending without points. When the offense was looking good. When it comes down to this close of a game, cannot do that. Cannot have this bad of a turnover ratio in the playoffs and expect to win.
Yeah.
Good teams win when they get the turnover ratio in their favor because it's just extra free possessions. Thanks for the free possessions, Ravens. We'll take it to our advantage. And they did. But, Ravens, it's to the point where they're not firing Harbaugh. If they fire Harbaugh, I'll be grinning ear to ear because here comes an implosion of that team.
Oh, yeah.
But what is the step to get us over the hump? Because 2,000 yards next to next to Lamar Jackson was not it. No. Or they went away from it. But what is it? Is it Harbaugh that makes them go away from it? Because adding Henry, and he's only going to get worse. He was the best addition besides Saquon in free agency.
Yes.
So he made such an impact. Tied the league for lead in rushing touchdowns for the season.
Yep.
Derrick Henry did. So he had a gigantic impact. What else can you add? I don't know. Because Bateman has stepped up and shown
he had a really solid year.
Zay Flowers, obviously. But, is he the big difference maker like that? I don't know.
I don't think he is.
Yeah, you guys already talked about the turnovers and kind of the offensive play calling. Why go away from Derrick Henry? The formula is 18 carries.
Yes, that's what you have to do.
And you give him 16. The overthrow interception was bad, but that fumble is just inexcusable. He's already being wrapped up, going
know.
to the ground.
And he just loses it.
Are you like switching hands with the ball? Like just
go
tuck
down.
it and concede the play. Instead, Von Miller maybe 5 years ago returns that for
Yeah.
Definitely ran out of gas at the end of that run.
Yep, not got the same speed.
And then I love to hate on Jalen Hurts, obviously a Cowboys guy here, but are we comparing him and Allen's numbers in this game and not saying the same thing about Josh Allen?
Yeah.
I get both guys won the game, but neither one of them really looked that great.
No,
honestly.
didn't light it up at all.
And then the last thing here, that 2-point play to Andrews. Yes, he did drop it, but
Not
Lamar,
a great throw from Lamar.
Just throw it
Yeah,
like 2 seconds
Yeah,
sooner.
and he like soft armed it. It's like, brother,
He's opened the whole out route. You
Yep.
wait till he's at the pylon to get the ball to him.
Right,
And maybe if you hit him in the chest,
Right.
he's still upright.
And
Or
hit
he
him
tried
early.
to, doesn't have
And
to
he's-
catch it falling to his
right,
ass.
and he's worried
Yeah.
about that. Like he knows he's close to the boundary too.
Yeah.
He's like, I've got to stay inbound. Starts thinking about his feet on that ground, the frozen ass ground in Buffalo, and the slippery football. I mean, the balls were slippery.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's tough. It's a tough play, and I mean to go. Someone tweeted before the game, "I can't wait for them to score a touchdown and Mark Andrews to not get the 2-point conversion."
Oh.
Like it was a pre-tweet, like it's time stamped. It was tweeted well before it happened. It's like, damn, that is brutal to lose that football game.
Yeah.
They have the Ravens Twitter account of Mark Andrews pregame. It's like Mark Andrews
Yeah,
isn't scared of the cold or
Yeah,
can
it's like-
handle the cold.
it's like,
It's like
Yeah, I mean, no touchdowns through the air for the Bills, but it just
Didn't
boils back to my point from the Philly. Why do you have to throw when you
Yeah.
can run the ball
That's right.
over and over? And I mean, they didn't even do it super effectively. Like the Ravens had more yards everywhere,
Yeah.
but it's just they scored touchdowns. The Bills converted their opportunities. The Ravens did not yet again, and now it's the same story. Lamar, you win the regular season, man. I really hope Josh Allen wins that damn MVP. Let it be the first time since 2007 that first team All-Pro does not get MVP, but still. I mean, congrats on winning regular season because that's at this point all the Ravens seem to care about.
Yes.
I mean, obviously the players care; they want to win a Super Bowl. I get that, but they can only get it done in the regular season.
Right.
And they're the best regular season team every single year.
Yep.
I love that too because it's like, oh, here they come. They're
Right.
hot. No one wants to
This
play
is
the
their
Ravens.
year.
Oh wait,
It's
I
their
think everyone wants to play the Ravens because they choke.
Fall apart
Yeah.
in the playoffs. Yeah, and I mean, first drive going and scoring, and then pick, fumble. It's like, okay, well, you're in trouble.
Yeah.
You don't get to go to Buffalo and make these mistakes and doom your season. I mean, imagine if they had beaten, I like to make fun of this, but imagine if they beat the Raiders early in the year in this game's in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Probably goes differently.
Yeah.
It
Oh,
probably
gotcha.
goes differently.
Oh, gotcha.
But when you lose
Yeah.
these games, when you lose to the Cleveland Browns,
Yeah, when you come in favored on the road to a Bills team that has not lost at home all season,
All season
the
long.
disrespect is real, and you weren't able to prove that it was right.
Legit.
You know? Yeah. So.
Agreed.